Hey, so in the blinding beautiful sun here in Northeast Oregon, it's getting to be spring, or I wouldn't trust it completely, but it's spring, you know. We're getting ready to plant about 60 or so blue elderberry cuttings, and so I'm going to kind of just hodgepodge together a video to show you what we're doing. So these are the elderberry cuttings. You can see they're ready. They're wanting to wake up. We got these from someone local, even though we have a ton of elderberries on our property. I didn't want to stress our trees because they're relatively young, and so we just bought them. But they're the same variety. We have the blue elderberry variety instead of the black, which actually taste a lot better. They're not bitter. They have bigger harvests, and they're native to where we're at, unlike the black elderberries. But we're going to choose to, we have this little, I wouldn't call it a creek or nothing, but it's like almost like not an irrigation ditch either. It's an overflow, right? So our property, we're on 40 plus acres here. And I don't know if you know what key lines are, but basically we've got a ridge over there and a ridge over there, and it funnels all the water down to this valley right here, right? And so behind our house ends up with a lot of water, and so there's a little overflow ditch basically, and it kicks the water down here, and it comes down through that pipe, and we have it set up to a trough just to give livestock water. But elderberries really like water, and so we're going to plant these all along it, even in the areas where we can't see the water because the water's still, you know, absorbing underneath. And then even in the summertime, what'll be cool is we can just throw a hose into basically this little ditch, and we'll just flood irrigate, right? Because they'll be planted here, the roots will naturally go towards the moisture. This will sink down in pretty quick in the summertime when the ground is all wet. So now we're going to show you how easy it is to plant them. So the cool thing about elderberry starts and a lot of other starts is, like, we don't have to really root these. I mean, we could. It would have been maybe a little bit easier. We'll have, you know, a little less success, but we got a lot. So, and this is a really handy tree planting tool, but you can do the same thing with a shovel. So he's going to show you how it works. See how he just tipped it back like that? And now I'm just going to stick that in there, and then he's going to step on it and it'll close that hole. Sometimes you gotta, oh, he's not going to fall in the water on video. And just like that, we planted an elderberry tree. You can do the same thing with a shovel. This thing is handy, and you couldn't do this if it was rooted, honestly. Well, unless it was like not very rooted. But so now we're just gonna go on down the creek, and we're looking to do probably a little bit further. There we go. We're looking to do, you know, not super far apart. We're gonna try to get these elderberries to grow like a canopy. With blue elderberries anyways, when you see them in the wild, they like to grow in bunches, right? So we try to simulate that. They're all going to be growing along this creek bed. Another one. And their roots are naturally going to want to go towards the water we're planting by. There we go. Stuff her in. All right. Grab another one. I can't dig the holes. I weigh like 100 pounds on a well-fed day. I can't make it go into the ground. All right. Just like that. So we're going to go ahead and get all these planted, then I'll show you when we're done. Okay, so we planted all the way up the little, you know, drainage creek bed, all the way down, all the way in the corner, all the way over here. A bunch of pregnant cows watching us. Those are our cows. All the way up, all the way here, all the way up there. Basically, in this whole little side pasture, everywhere you look, there's these little elderberry starts buried in the ground. I was about 60, I think. So if half of them live, I'll be stoked about it. If they all live, we will have a very serious elderberry orchard in the next 5 years or so. I expect in the next couple of months, so probably by the end of May, the ones that are going to live are going to have new growth and leaf on them. If I had to bet, if I was a betting woman, I would say that the ones that I've got next to this waterbed will do the best. Although it's wet the whole way here, because again, look here, this is just a little division here, cross fencing. See this? That's what I mean by water just pours down. You know, it funnels down from both sides of the hills here, and it just kind of ends up down here in a V. So we've got plenty of water here, and this little area of pasture stays green probably well into August, just because there's so much water sink in it. But that's occurring here too. Not as much because it's elevated a little bit higher, but and then as far as like deer pressure and stuff, because we've definitely got a lot of deer and elk and everything around here, this grass is going to get nice and tall, so it'll stunt their growth a little bit the first year because the grass will get taller than the elderberries will. However, it's a good trade-off because they'll be hidden for their first year of growth from the deer pretty well. And then deer tend not to like to go through those really thick grasses like that. They prefer the cow trails. So they might get these, but this grass gets pretty tall right here too. And it's pretty close to our house right there. And deer definitely come through, but they're a bit more skittish by the house, you know, because they smell us and the dogs barking and things like that. So, but hopefully this will be a substantial elderberry orchard in the next 5 years. It'll completely change the landscape of this little bottom pasture, you know, because there'll be more shade and more leaves being dropped and more, you know, more forest floor building up and things like that. So right now it's mainly hawthorns, black hawthorns, locust, invasive roses that are a problem. Look, those are roses all the way over the property, and then apple trees, blackberries back there, some ponderosa. So it'll be a nice variety to add. So, all right, there's my shadow. Bye. Oh, I'm supposed to say things like, okay. let me pull my stuff together here. So I'm gonna start doing more of these videos. Actually, give me a second. Let me flip this around. I'm gonna start doing more of these videos, just various farm projects going on here and things that we're doing, and some of them will have to be clearly like 1, 2, 5, 10 part things depending on what we're doing, just to kind of document it over the years. But you know, how easy was that to just, honestly, taking elderberry cuttings isn't complicated. You're just going to trim off a little branch below a bud and above a bud, so you have a bud to put in the ground, and you stick it in the ground. You can use rooting agent and stuff if you want to, but you really don't have to. That little one is bugging me. You don't have to use rooting agent. We soak them in water overnight, just because when my husband got home last night over the hill, we were tired, and I was like, we're not going to go out there in the dark and plant them, just stick them in water. But that's not a bad thing. It really helps open up their like the wood structure, right? So roots can come out a little bit easier, and they're nice and soaked with like a reserve of water before you stick them in the ground. But it really is that easy. And elderberry, as far as blue elderberry go, they take really easy to just being planted into the ground, which is great because we have some pretty like loamy clay soil. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but that's what it is. And so like it's easier to dig when it's wet than it is like, but also like digging up a hole to fit like a big root structure is like pretty rough because it's clay and it's thick and it's heavy, and I can't really dig the holes unless I get the tractor out, because I can't really get a shovel to sink in because I don't weigh very much. But anyhow, you're smart enough to do this, right? To get out here, even if you just have a normal backyard, you can plant an elderberry tree. You don't have to have a whole bunch of acreage and stuff like that. So that's my main thing. I want you to know that you are smart enough to do this. You can try it. You can do all kinds of food production and medicine production on small amounts of property too. You don't have to have big amounts. So If you like these random impromptu videos, seeing what I'm up to and all that kind of stuff, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see when these videos are here. Consider signing up for my email news list, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, comment, share so other people can find it and realize they're smart enough to. If you're watching this on YouTube, come find me on Instagram. If you're watching on Instagram, come find me on YouTube. I'm all over the place. So now I can say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.